After 2 weeks to flatten the curve, turned into a year and a half to flatten everything, Americans are taking it out. On the 1997 Toyota Corolla doing 29 in a 45 zone, just ahead of them for mile after mile. 2021 is on pace to be a record-setting year for deadly road rage, with increases in everything from flipping the bird to soccer moms to shooting them for cutting you off. Here now is Heather MacDonald, author of The War on Cops and senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute. Heather, the conventional wisdom is that this is COVID-related stress. Do you buy that?
I don't buy it at all, Mark. This is a product of the delegitimation of law enforcement. Welcome to the total breakdown of law and order. Cops are not enforcing traffic laws. The Department of Transportation has long documented that when cops back off of traffic enforcement, now they're being told it's racist to enforce traffic laws. Violent crime goes up. The crime that we've been seeing just terrorizing inner city, the law-abiding residents of inner city, is bleeding outwards into the roadways. People feel they can get away with anything. And you look at the condition of city streets where anarchy reigns, nobody's enforcing the law. That sends a message generally that nobody is in control, and people act out on their worst impulses.
That sounds as if you put this in the same category as all those cities that have said we're not going to prosecute property theft under $900 or whatever. So you see people openly looting Walgreens in front of the manager and the clerks. In other words, that when you decriminalize petty crime, you shouldn't be surprised that it leads to other crimes.
That's absolutely right. Last September, a principal in North Minneapolis gave a heart-rending video saying, we are a city completely and literally out of control. The cops were not enforcing anything. She complained about the speeding in her people running red lights, and they're not enforcing any of those street-level crimes. Again, this sends a message that we don't expect lawful behavior, and a certain number of people are going to say, okay, I'm just going to give in to my impulses. We have got to stop demonizing the cops, stop demonizing law enforcement. It is not racist. Police officers are the one government agency that cares relentlessly about black lives. That's why they're in inner cities, is to save black lives. But this phony narrative that is being prosecuted by Biden, his Justice Department, that the entire system is racist, is giving people license. And you're absolutely right. The flash mobs we've been seeing in Chicago, in San Francisco, the looting, the people stamping on cars. It's falling apart very quickly, Mark, and it's going to take a massive change of ideology to turn it around.
I was astonished. I flew back into the country and landed at a big city airport, and I couldn't get any of my minions to come to that big city and collect me because they didn't want to go to lawless American cities. I thought that was a little bit crazy, but I've talked to all kinds of people, and they too are giving the bums rush to American cities.
This is why the pandemic explanation for the crime increase that the media loves, because they do not want to acknowledge that policing matters, is so phony. Everybody had these insane, excessive, hysterical lockdowns throughout the Western world. The only place where violent crime increased was in the United States, only after the George Floyd riots. You can go to Ireland and France and not have to worry about drive-by shootings. It is only here, and it's not due to the pandemic, because the press now says, well, now that we've lifted the lockdowns, now we're going to have crime. We had crime before because of the lockdowns, and now their explanation is because we're lifting the lockdowns. They don't want to talk about policing.
Yeah, that's true. France and a lot of other places had curfews, and they didn't have crimes like this. That's an excellent point, Heather. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.